Hello everyone! So I was trying to come up with something fun for this video, but after making art videos for almost 15 years, it is a little hard sometimes to come up with new, fresh ideas. I knew I wanted to make something with markers, but how can I turn this into something new? I mean, markers, we've done it a million times. So then I thought, why not try using markers on canvas? Could this bring something new to the art table? I don't know. I haven't tried it and I haven't really seen a lot of other people trying it either. So maybe because it is a dumb idea, I don't know, but let's find out together. And even if I would love using the big canvas, I'm on a bit of a time limit, so instead I will be using these. It is like a drawing pad, but instead of paper, we got these cotton canvas sheets, primed and ready to be used. I feel like this is a decent size to start with for this experiment, but yeah, let's get started. Before jumping into the actual art, I'm doing a quick test to see how the markers behaves on the canvas. The primed canvas doesn't absorb the ink as paper does, it kind of just stays on the surface and dries a little slower. So it is a little like working with watercolors, since you can kind of push around the ink before it dries, but also the alcohol ink kind of dissolves or pushes away itself, which means that you can't really layer the colors. So if I draw with one color on top of another, the top color kind of pushes away the bottom one, so that is something that I need to keep in mind for the actual art. So when trying new techniques like this, or when trying new artsy things at all, it can sometimes be a little scary or overwhelming, but with today's sponsor, Artist Academy, learning new things is both fun and easy. Artist Academy is your online resource for all things drawing and painting, and it is the perfect place to improve your creative skills, no matter if you're a beginner, expert, or somewhere in between. As a member, you will get unlimited access to hundreds of art tutorials and demonstrations, connect with fellow artists, share your ideas with like-minded, and join live events held by expert instructors. I actually found this video by Peter John Reed to be super satisfying when he shows how to paint choppy water in acrylics. It is just so nice to look at. I'm terrible at painting or drawing any kind of water, but this gave me some inspiration for the art that I'm making in today's video, so that is perfect. I love using any kind of art mediums and trying new things, and at Artist Academy you find lessons on oil painting, acrylic painting, studio setup, illustration, urban sketching, watercolors, mixed media, and so on. Everything you need to stay inspired and creative. If Artist Academy seems like something for you, then the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Artist Academy for only $1.49, valid for new members only. Thanks Artist Academy for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the art. Alright, so this sketch I actually made for a different video, but I never ended up using it, so I thought it would be fitting to use in this video instead, because I thought it was very cute. And instead of Kit, the Kitty Explorer, I'm introducing this little magical guy. I'm not sure who they are yet. Are they a wizard, a witch, who knows? But I do know that they are out searching for plants and materials, crystals, and other ingredients for their potions and spells. I just took a short break by this pond to admire the nature. Will they appear in future art? Well, maybe, we'll see. If you like them, I might bring them back. And if you have a name for this little guy, let me know in the comments below. It turned out that the canvas is thin or see-through enough, so I could actually trace the sketch directly from the computer monitor, which saved me a lot of time. It was still a little bit tricky since the canvas is very textured. It is a bit bumpy, so the lines turned out a little rough and shaky, but after going over the lines one more time, I think the sketch turned out pretty good. With Phoenix the helper here to support me, let's get into the coloring. So I wasn't really sure what to expect from this little art experiment. I know it isn't anything revolutionary or anything, I just wanted to try something new and see how it worked. I wasn't even sure if it would work or not, so I'm basically just testing and learning things as I go. So I started with the tree trunks around the border, because tree bark is supposed to be more textured and uneven, so I thought it would be a good place to start, since then I could try out some different techniques without any errors being too noticeable. My first instinct was to use the markers as I normally do when using them on paper, but I noticed pretty quickly that it wouldn't work because, as I mentioned before, the ink doesn't sink into the canvas, it is sitting on top of the surface, so basically the ink is acting more like paint watercolors, but also not really. When the ink is still wet, which isn't for very long since it is alcohol based and dries very quickly, but still slower than it does on paper, when one color is still wet, I can dip another color in it and it will create a softer gradient or transition, so that would sort of be the way of blending or mixing the colors. Both colors need to be wet to be able to mix, so yeah, a little like watercolors. So on some areas like the trees and plants, I was able to get some sort of softer blending, but once the ink dried and I tried adding another color on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, the colors, no matter if it is a darker or a lighter shade, will push away the other color, which creates a harsher line or edge between the colors. So layering the colors isn't really working. You can't go over the same area multiple times to darken or intensify the color as you do on paper. So you have to use a little different mindset when using the markers on canvas. Creating highlights was very easy though, since I could just draw on top of any darker color with a lighter color, and the lighter ink would just push away the color underneath, which technically also works with markers on paper. You can use a blender pen or a lighter color and create highlights on darker colors, but usually the darker ink has already stained the paper fibers and it can affect or discolor the lighter highlights, but since the ink isn't soaking into the canvas, it creates cleaner highlights, if that makes any sense. And also, I'm sorry, I know I say the word color a lot in this video, you just have to bear with me. And you might be wondering about the little strip of canvas that I'm keeping right next to the art. I'm using a scrap piece of canvas to swatch the markers on, because I noticed that some of the colors turns out a little different on the canvas than on paper, so I had to swatch them before to see what they look like. I was struggling a little bit with a lighter tone since they didn't show up as well on the canvas, while some of the colors turned out very vibrant and saturated, so that is why I'm using this little canvas strip to try out the colors on. Also, a little self-promotion. If you like this art, it is available as digital and physical prints over at my Patreon. So check out my Patreon for coloring pages, prints, sneak peeks, exclusive updates and arts and more. Link is in the description. So yeah, markers on canvas is definitely working, and I think it was a very fun new combination. I really like the painted effect that the ink creates on the canvas. Though, even if it worked way better than I expected, I still struggled a little with the finer details such as the wizard kitty because of the textured surface of the canvas and the ink being a little unpredictable. It was a bit of a challenge to color in the smaller areas and details, while the texture and the painted effect looks great on the larger areas. It makes the finer details look a little messy, and trying to adjust any mistake or filling in gaps or whatever it could be, it only resulted in even more texture and added to the messiness. Perhaps a finer bullet tip would have worked better than the brush tip, but it was definitely a bit fidgety to color in the smaller areas. The sky though, I love it. This is where I think this combination of mediums worked really well together. And the water too, I think I managed to create a lovely painted effect for both the sky and the water. I really like how it turned out. The whole drawing looks really interesting with the texture from the canvas and the texture from the markers. And yeah, the art has a few flaws and there are a few things that I could change or improve, but for a first try with this combination of mediums, I am pretty happy with how this turned out. It has a fun, whimsical vibe, and I think the painted look and the texture is very pretty. However, it looks a little blurry and unfinished as it is right now, but I think some outlines will help with that. So I tried a regular water-based fine liner, but it only smudged on top of the markers pretty much as expected, but the permanent fine liner worked perfectly, so that is what I went with. I wanted to keep the soft look though, so I only used colored fine liners for the outlines. This step really brought this whole piece together. It is like seeing an image coming into focus after being out of focus, if you know what I mean. Especially for the wizard kitty, I think it really helped bringing out all the details. So yeah, it was overall a successful little experiment. I'm not sure if this will be my go-to way of using markers in the future, but it was fun trying something new. I hope you guys like it too, and let me know what you think of this. Is this something that you would like to try out yourself? But yeah, that is all for now. Thanks Artist Academy for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Keep drawing my happy cats. Bye!